I'm starting my day with a photograph of the water tower with the moon behind the water level bobber. Here's the area of my hike, Vancouver Island on the west coast of British Columbia. The red dot is near Parksville, and that's the area of my hike. This shows the two subdivisions of the E&N Railway. The main one hugging the coast is the Victoria Subdivision, and the one that goes inland is the Port Alberni Subdivision, and they converge, diverge around Parksville in that red circle. That's where I was doing my hike. So here's a close-up map of that area, and the red circle is where the Parksville Train Station is, and it's also where the two lines split up. So that is about mile 95.2 on the Victoria Subdivision and mile 0 on the Port Alberni Subdivision. Made it a little bit easier for you to see the Port Alberni Subdivision by putting it in that blue line there. Going back on the right hand side, that red area is roughly where the water tower is, and that's the first thing I looked at on my visit. It was before sunrise. The moon was setting behind the water tower, and so I did a couple photographs there, and so I've shown that as a prequel. On the left side of the map, that red circle is where I start my main video. That is mile 1.1 on the Port Alberni Subdivision, Fairdowne Road. And I just hike out there just doing photographs, and then I start the video on my way back, going from left to right. There's some out of sequence photographs that I use in my video. I used some photographs on my walk out to my starting point of the video, and then I put those into the video. And so if the lighting seems different, like it was taken before sunrise for some of the photographs, that's why. So the funny red lines are just showing the direction of my walk. I soon get to this, which is actually a Y. Some people just call it a connector track. And that was the focus of my trip. I wanted to see as much of this Y as I could. It's the track that connects the Port Alberni Subdivision to the Victoria Subdivision if a train wanted to go from one to the other. And some facts about it are it's a very tight curve. It's an 18-degree curve, which meant that it was difficult to use and so hardly ever used. Also, it's now currently very overgrown, so I found it impossible to walk through, so I just saw parts of it. Anyway, my walk continued down towards mile 0 of the Port Alberni Subdivision, and then over to the Victoria Subdivision and back up that, going north to the north leg of the Wye. And that red line is a E&N recreational trail that cuts across, and that's featured quite a bit in my video, and I actually take a peek at the Wye from that path. For the Port Alberni Subdivision, the last train was in early 2002. For the Victoria Subdivision, the last train was roughly around 2013 or so, which would have been for some freight from the pole factory up near Courtenay. One thing that you'll notice about this video is that it starts with me walking towards the rising sun, and so the lighting is less than ideal, and it creates a lot of lens flare, which is when you can see colored dots floating in the air. And that's just what happens when you point a camera towards the sun. Mile 1.1 on Fairdowne Road in Parksville, outside of Parksville, something like that. That's looking at Highway 19. This is the E&N Railway's Port Alberni Subdivision. And there we are looking back towards mile 0, which is not visible, but that's where I'm walking to. This is what the railway is like here. Lots of short broom very tangly. The Gradall machine went through here probably in autumn 2020 is my recollection, and the broom's all coming back like it does. There's a gravel trail beside the railway, and I've seen a lot of people walking and biking it already this morning. I prefer to walk the railway because that's what I'm interested in, and yeah, this is similar to what I see elsewhere on the Port Alberni Subdivision. Old ties, disintegrated ties, lots of broom, inconsistent ballast. It's just an old, unused railway. Walking into the sun, it warms me up, but makes for challenging camera work. Here's Highway 19, and briefly the sun is shaded by the bridge structure, so I'll take another photograph. The lighting is temporarily okay. Crossing structures always interest me, and I know that structurally there can be a bridge or a trestle depending on whether it's a span or whether there's just a series of trestle supports. But functionally, it always gets me whether you want to call it a bridge or a overpass or an underpass. And I think the way I figure it out is you go from the point of view of the railway, and the only reason for the structure is to let something pass over it, and so it's an overpass. In any case, this is two spans of Highway 19. When I drive Highway 19, I always note the E&N Railway sign along the highway for this. Let's look back at it. Adorned with graffiti. Some creative and some not very creative. Here's a look back at the overpass for Highway 19, and more importantly, my shadow. Here's a private crossing, a little small road, and that's where I'm going to go back to the railway. In just a little ways is the start of the south leg of the Wye, and it's badly overgrown, and I'm only going to be able to walk a little ways into it because I don't feel like bushwhacking today, but then I'll come at it from the other side. I've seen somewhere listed that the Wye is an 18% curve, which is a reason why it wasn't used all that often, because just too tight. I'm assuming have a big risk of a derail if you try to use it and went too fast. Switch is lined for the main line as it should be. Looking back. Okay, let's explore as much of this south side of the Wye as I can before I get turned back by the weeds. Nice moss covered tracks, very soft. Back in early 2019 I walked through this entire Wye, but it's not going to happen today. I just don't have the motivation to go through all the weeds. That's as far as we'll go from this side, not very far at all. And back on the main line, and you can see there is bits of it right here. Let's go down for another photograph. Okay, well, that's as far as I'm going to go here. Yeah, let's see, it's overgrown. Quite overgrown. So, we'll see what it looks like from the Victoria Subdivision side. Yeah, right down through there. It starts to curve left. Through there is the Wye, invisible to me. This is for the rail trail. It's the required signage. I'm not one of those people that scoffs at the signage and makes a bold statement of they'll never be used. I don't know if rail's coming back or when rail's coming back, but I'm also educated enough on the matter, I think, to understand that while this is still classified as an active railway, there is signage required. I get that. So through there is the Wye. I'll maybe see it later. But for now, I want to continue on the Port Alberni Sub until I get to the Alberni Highway. And then I'll walk on over to the Victoria Sub and then head north on that. Here's the switch stand for the siding track here on the west side of Alberni Highway, along with a handheld slow sign, or a broken off slow sign. So on this side there's 3 tracks. One of them will start up pretty soon. The one on the left is, I'm assuming, a storage track siding. I'm currently on the main line, and coming up on the right will be a short spur that goes to a freight loading dock. The bright morning sun is finished now. It's high enough to be behind a bit of cloud. It could pop out again, but soon I'll be heading the other direction. Here's a spot that was a set-on, set-off area because of the gravel area beside and the disintegrating wood in between the rails, creating what would be similar to a level crossing. And I just got my foot stuck on something right there. That's how I trip. That's why when I'm walking on a railway, every step is cautious, because you never know what you're going to get caught on. That's part of what makes it interesting and challenging and slow. Here's where the spur track starts, heads off to the right to the freight loading dock. There's the other siding. And I'm still on the main line, straight ahead, Alberni Highway, and the current site of the water tower. And here's the freight dock that you can drive up with a vehicle on the far side up the ramp. A lot of garbage here. Constructed out of a bunch of ties. It's a lot like a trestle. Same components. Stringer beams, ties, creosote. Tons of garbage. There's the switch stand from this end for the long siding on the right. Hey, there's the Victoria Subdivision just on the other side of the Bottle Depot driveway. That's where I'm going after I do a photograph. Okay, the Victoria Subdivision. And right away, we have sidings. Switch stand behind me will work the siding on my right, and then switch stand coming up on the left. There's a spur that goes to a storage area, and main line heading straight up. There's a peek at the siding. And right away, look how clear the main line is relative to the Port Alberni Subdivision we saw a few minutes ago. Port Alberni Subdivision right up there, other side of the pavement on the bank. Caboose number 76695. Hard to see with the weeds. Alright, here's where the siding joins. Here's the frog. on the main line. Let's look back. And here's the level crossing for the rail trail. On the right is a school and its playfields, I think. And to the left is where the trail goes, and then it crosses the Port Alberni Subdivision. And the Wye is right there. So we'll see the Wye first from the Wye, and then I'll come back and see it from the pathway, because I should be able to see some of it. It's just on the other side of here, and who knows, maybe I'll get blocked by the bush again. Here's some of the north leg of the Wye. I'll come up to the switch first, and then I'll turn in and see how far I can go. I don't think I'm going to go that far. And here we go. It's the switch. This is mile 95.7, heading northbound on the Victoria Subdivision. If I continued that way, I'd eventually cross CRHA Road, and then eventually get to French Creek and the big trestle. Okay, let us see what we can see. Heading southbound on Victoria Sub. I don't think I'm going to get far on this Wye. Yeah, I'd say I'm not getting anywhere. Back down to the main line. So behind the bare tree is the Wye track. It's raised up quite a bit higher here than where I am. And it's just a mound full of broom weeds and salal brush and little trees. Yeah, not much to see, but I'm going to explore off the path. Up in there somewhere is the Wye. Yeah, still beyond these trees, raised up. Let's take a look. We'll go in a little bit, but not too far. Huh. There is a way. There are some rails. One rail, two rails, and I'm between the rails, looking towards the Port Alberni Subdivision and back towards the Victoria Subdivision. There's that other rail. Yeah, not much of a view. And I've just spied the rails in through there. Hard to see, but they are there. I'll show you a photograph. And there's more of a view through there as the Wye makes its 18-degree curve. Here we go. I was hoping for some easy access to the Wye, and here it is. Okay, looking towards the Port Alberni Subdivision. Now I'm between the rails and looking back towards the Victoria Subdivision. So I'll walk for a ways. So a partial success for my desire today to walk the Wye. Yeah, and then just through here. Ah, invisible. And we'll go back this way and do a photograph here. Okay, let's walk for a bit towards the Port Alberni Sub. And that's about it. Just continues to curve to the left and then joins the Port Sub. Let's go back to the path. Back at the Port Sub. So I've been through this way once already. So thanks very much for watching this video. I appreciate it.